I feel like this week is so important. We have to do a second podcast this week.
I agree.
Walkers and Talkers, episode 30, Big 30.
Yep.
I'm Dave Brody from Elvis in the Morning Show. That, of course, is my co-host Jamie.
Hi.
From Light FM in New York at JMegs514. Now, I am as you know, we both are crazed Walking Dead fans. This was a huge week, massive ratings. But one of the things that got me through my 6 months waiting for the season premiere, and what gets me through every week after every episode of The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead, is a YouTuber who runs a channel called Trevschan2. And it's Trevor who runs the channel, and he does Q&A videos every week, a few of them. He does a prediction video. He does a reaction video. He does a recap video after each episode, and I'm suckered in every week to every single one of them. And we've got him on the phone. Trevor, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Trevschan2 on the phone. Trevor, this is Jamie's. Hi, Jamie.
Hi, Trevor.
Hi, Jamie. Nice to meet you.
Now, Trevor has like 300,000 subscribers, of which I'm one of them, and Jamie is now one of them because we're both addicted to your channel. So, as I'm watching the season premiere, basically the grand entrance of Negan, I'm thinking the whole time, what's Trevor thinking, and what are his videos going to be like? So, of course, I ran to YouTube afterwards and watched all your videos. What was the most surprising thing in your mind from the episode? What was it that came up that you didn't expect?
I did really love the episode. It was really crazy seeing Negan, in his first. We saw him before the season 6 finale, but to get to see kind of a full episode with him was pretty amazing. Most surprising thing, I want to say, and should we do spoiler warning?
Yeah. Spoiler warning. Everybody listening, we're going to say everything. Talk about who died. Talk about who didn't die. All of it. Everything's coming. So hold on. Go ahead.
Yeah, when Negan turns and says back to it, and he just smokes Glenn the first time, I was like, wow, that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, that freaked me out because, following bloggers and trying to avoid spoilers, we had a pretty good idea that because Glenn dies in episode 100 of the comics, issue 100, we knew that Glenn probably was going to die. A lot of us, I know on this podcast, we talked about Abraham because he stood up in the season finale.
Yeah.
And he stood up to him like, I can take it. We kind of felt like Abraham might die because, if you read the comics, Denise took the crossbow bolt to the eye that Abraham took in the comics, right? So Abraham only had limited time left on the planet anyway. So we thought probably Abraham, probably Glenn, most likely both. But you're right. When he was giving that speech about Daryl interrupting him and punching him, and he said, "I will shut that shit down."
That's my favorite line, by the way.
Yeah, it's a great line. There was no warm-up. There was no, I got to pick somebody else.
Just boom.
He just turned it. Now, so here's we have two questions. Two questions for you, Trevor. Need your official opinion. Number one, did he kill Glenn second because that's where he was standing and he was the closest guy to Lucille? Or did he kill Glenn because Glenn was the first guy to interrupt him, even though that was a free pass? Why Glenn? What do you think was the reason for Glenn?
Yeah, I think it's the latter. I think you got it. I think that he was upset that Glenn kind of emotionally jumped out of line there and upset him. But it might have been okay. However, and they kind of touched on this a little bit on Talking Dead, was that because Daryl punched him, Negan punished them further by killing another, character. But he decided for some reason it was a little odd because he didn't kill Daryl, even though Daryl was the one who punched him.
Right.
So I think Negan's kind of an interesting character that he's got these strict rules. But when people break the rules, he has to punish them. But at the same time, he might kind of respect them. Like, I feel like he respected Abraham at the end because of what Abraham's final words were.
Right, suck my nuts.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I feel like, because he laughed at it too, right? Like,
yeah.
So I kind of feel like Negan's a really interesting character. He's very strict with the rules, but he also it's like he kind of likes people. He kind of respects people when they don't follow the rules too. So
Well, I watched a Michael Cutlett's interview this morning that he did with miscellaneous reporter. I'll post the link at Walkers_talkers. And he was saying that he felt Negan picked him because he stood up to him, because he instantly thought, is he someone who's more useful to me or more of a threat? That he felt Negan was really good at figuring people out, that he knew that Carl was Rick's son, that he knew that Sasha had a thing with Abraham. He sort of was reading them as he was looking at the lineup. And I think he took out Abraham because he was maybe more of a threat, and maybe because he thought as a right-hand man that would break Rick. Do you feel like that's probably why he chose him? Because the reason I ask, in the season 6 finale, what we saw in the trailer and in the last scene was sort of what we thought was out of order, the eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And we thought they mixed up the order because they didn't want us to count and figure who it was. But now that we've seen the premiere, it really looks like he was randomly doing it. Like he was going every third, every fourth, right? Because when he was like, and my mother says to pick the very next one, and that's you, he paused and then was like, you are it. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like he was next. He just randomly.
There was no rhyme or reason to it.
Right, so it was sort of deliberate, don't you think?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I do think that you're correct. I think he did, consciously pick Abraham, even though it seemed like he was kind of going at random. He did, because if you watch the season 6 finale, Abraham looks right back at him. I don't think he blinks. He doesn't show any signs of fear or anything. He looks, at him totally strong. And Negan actually, in terms of what he wants, in terms of his goals, he doesn't want that. He wants Rick, he wants the others to be afraid of him. He wants to see the fear in Rick's eyes. He didn't see that when he looked at Abraham, so he probably thought, I got to take this guy out. I'm probably not going to be able to break this guy.
Right.
He's probably not going to be somebody I'm always going to have to worry about this guy. So I'll take him out because he's, one of their toughest guys, pretty much biggest guy they have. And he also isn't scared of me, so he's going to be the first one to go.
Right.
For sure.
Now, based on that, you would have thought he would have taken out Daryl also, because the guy's ballsy enough to punch you in the face. But he made the comment to Dwight, something along the lines of, you don't get rid of something like this till you try him or taste him, something like that.
Gross. What does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean? Does he want to have sex with him? What is that?
Are they going to torture him sexually? Because can I help?
Yeah.
No.
Trev, what do you think he meant by you don't kill something like this till you try it a little bit first? What do you think he meant by that?
Yeah, that's a weird line. I've been thinking about that one too. I'm not sure. I think what he means is he's going to try to break him, at least to see, because I think he does kind of respect him and he thinks he's interesting. He also, when he hears his name, he's like, wow, Daryl, that fits, right? Because I think he does actually like Daryl. Kind of like, like I said, he stands up to him, so it's mixed, right? But I feel like he kind of respects him because he stood up, even though he broke the rules. So you break the rules in front of everybody, because Negan's got all the saviors there and everybody. He has to save face. He cannot, allow you to make him look bad in front of his guys. But at the same time, when people do certain things, he may kind of develop some kind of affection for him. So it looks like he's going to probably, bring Daryl back with him and the rest of the saviors and everybody, and try to break him in a little bit first and see if maybe he could be somebody that they could use, even as a savior, not really as a survivor that he lets go, but maybe somebody he can keep. So it sounds like he's going to work on him a bit, I think, and what he means by it is he's going to try and see if he can break him in, and maybe give him a little bit of pain first for what he did, and teach him to respect Negan, and see what happens from there.
Is he basing that assessment on things Dwight told him? Because he's never met Daryl before. He's never seen him in action. But Dwight has. So has Dwight been updating him about this guy, telling him all about him? Other than getting punched in the face, what else would he base that on?
Yeah, I think you're right. There may have been some of that we didn't get to actually see due to us being introduced to Negan in such a fashion. We didn't get to see the background behind everything, but we do know that he's had this rivalry going with Dwight, and Dwight would usually update Negan on whatever he finds. If he meets another group out there, or he runs into another group, he probably would tell Negan about it, because then they could decide, okay, let's search these different locations and let's see if we can figure out where their home base is, and get them to work for us, or at least take their stuff, or whatever they're going to do. So
right now in the comics, not necessarily a spoiler because the comics don't always play out in the show, Carl gets taken under the wing of Negan. Do you feel like Carl is still going to do that, where he sneaks into the Savior's lair, or do you feel like maybe Daryl will take that role in the TV show?
I think you got it. Yeah, I think it's going to be quite a bit different with regards to that from the comics. Carl is quite a bit different in the TV series than he is in the comics at this time, and yeah, I do think that it's going to be a bit different in the TV show. I don't think we're probably going to see Carl go after Negan and the Saviors right now. It'll probably be Daryl, like you said. Yeah.
Okay, there's one scene that in the coming weeks in the season 7 trailer where Negan says to someone with long hair, you still don't get it. You work for me. And it looks like it could be Carl. I can't figure out who's in that scene. So that's why I thought maybe Carl still goes there to kill them, but maybe he doesn't take him under his wing. Because he seems to have an affection for him as far as, he's like, hey, kids, cheer up. He sort of maybe sees that he's a tough kid. You and I both came up with the same assessment, by the way, of the Abraham and Isaac out of the Bible, that God wanted Abraham to sacrifice his own son as a test. It seems like that's what Negan was doing by asking Rick to cut his own son's hand off. Did that struck you the same?
Yeah, absolutely. Just putting fear of God into Rick, so to speak, in this situation. But yeah, definitely, I did. And that was another scene that was really cool that was added in that was not from the comics. And I thought it played out pretty good. I thought it was really exciting. It was intense. We get to see it as it's going through, and we don't know what Negan is going to do. We don't know if he's going to stop him. So it was an intense episode, man. There was a lot of scenes like that all the way throughout that were just like really intense.
But you felt that he would have gone through with it, right? I mean, if Negan hadn't stopped him.
Yeah, he probably would have. Yeah, I think he realized at that time that he really had no choice and that he kind of had to do it. And if Negan didn't stop him, he probably would have.
Right.
Yeah, he would have gone forward.
Now, Jamie and I had a recurring theme watching the whole show. The trailer was called Right Hand Man, and we sort of thought when he dragged him into the trailer, into the RV, with the axe, he was going to take Rick's hand off, sort of following along the lines of what the governor did, cutting Rick's hand off in the comics. And then as he went for the ride in the RV, he kept cleaning the axe, slamming it on the counter. There was this sense of he's going to cut his hand off throughout that whole car ride. And then we thought, okay, well, now he's going to remix it and do it to Carl. Did you feel that way the whole episode, that someone was going to lose a hand?
Yeah, after seeing the Right Hand Man clip, that was something that was discussed quite a bit. I kind of thought they probably won't do it because of just the difficulty it'd be really exciting to see and shocking and everything like that. But the difficulty afterwards, for the next coming years, to always have to deal with it. I think it's different if you have a character like Merle, where maybe you could put a cover on it or something to cover the hand. And also if that character may not be in the series for that long. But if you were to take like one of our main, cast characters like Rick or Carl and do that, then they would always have to kind of deal with that afterwards. And it would add a lot of workload to them every time that character has a scene. So especially if it's Rick, right? Because Rick is in more scenes than anybody, because of course he's our main our lead. So.
And Robert Kirkman, the creator of the series, said that cutting Herschel's foot off was so expensive with CGI, and that cutting Rick's hand off, it would limit what the character could do. He couldn't climb up on top of things. That in comics you could just show the guy up on top of a truck, but in real life on a TV show, how would you explain Rick getting up on something that he'd have to climb? So that's why I felt, I'm in agreeing with you, it probably wasn't going to happen, but I still kept thinking it might.
Like, my question kind of had to do with that. Like, if you do CGI aside, do you think that Negan should have made Rick go through with cutting his arm off? Because I know it put the fear of God in him, but maybe he will retaliate at some point. But if he actually made him go through with it, I think he would just be, his slave. I think maybe he should have made him go through it if he really, truly wanted to break Rick.
I think based on his facial expressions, he felt like he had at that time already, and I think he wanted to show him that this can get really ugly if you don't do what I say, and even your son is not safe. But I do think Negan's a very interesting character. He has a lot of layers to him, and he has some really some mixed, like I was saying before, he has some really mixed kind of ways of seeing things. His psychology is very dense. It's not too simple to see. But I do think Negan still does have a heart. I think he doesn't want, like, if he feels like he doesn't need to have Rick do that, then he won't.
Yeah.
So that's part of what makes Negan so interesting is he has all these different levels to him, but he's also a psychopath because when he's busting skulls, he's laughing about it, he's making jokes, he's enjoying it. So he's a great character. He's one of the most interesting characters. He's a great villain, I should say. Because there's a lot of people who hate Negan right now, which is understandable. Yeah, he's got a lot of layers to him, and he's really psychologically interesting, I think. So.
Yeah, he enjoys it a little bit too much. At least when the survivors went into the compound and they killed 20, 25 saviors, they weren't enjoying it. They felt bad about putting the knives in their heads. But Negan revels in it, swings the bat, makes jokes, laughs about it. And reading on Twitter, people were like, I hate him. He's a fantastic character.
Yeah.
And I think the hand cutting off, I think to me that would have been too far. I think Rick maybe as a leader could maybe eventually forgive him or understand why he killed 2 people, since Rick killed 30 of his men.
Yeah.
Actually, doing the math, they killed about 40 saviors between the 5 guys on the motorcycle on the road and the 5 guys in the pickup truck.
And the compounds.
And the 3 people that Carol killed, with Maggie. And the compound. I mean, they killed a lot of saviors. I'm surprised his intention wasn't to kill 2 just, naturally. But this killing of Abraham and Glenn, according to Michael Cutlitz, who played Abraham, they planned this 2 summers ago. Like, they've known about this a really long time. Are you surprised that, for the most part, Trev, that it stayed a secret?
Yeah, I did hear that, too, that they had this planned out for like a couple years. They were able to wrap it up pretty good, but not 100%. There was still spoilers kind of this summer to where, the names were released. And there was conflicting info, too. There was some trickery and some other scenes. They filmed the 11 death sequences, and we got to see them use that a little bit with the potentials as Rick is thinking about what could still happen.
Yep.
And they released a Maggie clip, which is pretty cool, where, maybe it's it depends on how you look.
Oh, it's terrible. Now, it's not an
brutal.
official release because it looks the quality is terrible. But
Yeah,
in the
it's like
in the
a
clip,
leaked release.
yeah, in the clip you're talking about, the eeny meeny miny mo lands on Maggie, and Glenn tries to interfere, and he gets a bat to the back of the head, knocks him out. It's easy to find on YouTube. And then Maggie takes the bat, and she takes the 1 hit. And then her head comes up and she's like, bleh, bleh, spitting blood. She didn't say suck my nuts, which, but then she gets the bat. Now, I mean, of all the people in that list, I felt like Maggie was the last person he would kill.
Me too. Does Negan know she's pregnant?
I don't think they talked about that, right? He doesn't know she's pregnant.
No, I don't think she knows.
But I just felt like, all right, now in the comic, Trev, correct me if I'm wrong, when he's walking around the circle of, I think it's 6 in the comic, he says he wouldn't kill a black person because they'd say he was being racist.
Yeah, the race card, he says, when it comes to characters of different,
right, because in the comic, Michonne's there, but Heath is also there. And he makes a comment about not wanting to be a racist. But I just got the feeling he wasn't going to kill Maggie. And that, I think of all the videos they could have released, I think if Eugene got the bat, it may have been a little more believable.
Mm-hmm.
Or one of the other men on the show. Did you, if you had seen the Maggie thing, would you have, at any moment a week ago, thought that it could have been Maggie?
Yeah, I didn't think so. I thought she would be one of the least likely people to be picked. So that's why I was so surprised when I had all these people coming through saying that, spoilers, it's her, because they released that clip. So it did cause quite a few people to become confused about it. I personally didn't see it until after I saw the premiere because I tried to stay out of that. I like to, if I can not ruin it for myself and not get into spoilers, then I opt usually to do that. But if I see, if people are leaving tons of comments and this kind of thing, and I happen to see it, which was the case this summer with the Glenn and Abraham thing, I will say that even though it was kind of out there and a lot of people knew about it, it was still pretty incredible to see and really just crazy sequence to see. And it was still surprising when you see Glenn get it after Abraham, I want to say. So
now you're caught up on the comic books. I'm not up to the latest. In any part of the series, does Negan take Lucille to a woman?
Oh, that's tricky. I don't think so. Not that I can think of off the top of my head. However, he does. I won't get into spoilers, but there is a competing.
Yeah, I know who you.
Competing faction, and he does kill a woman in that instance. So he's not against it, I suppose, but he probably wouldn't. Oh, that's tricky because, like we said, Negan is so he's so interesting psychologically. It's hard to say sometimes, but like I think he would, but I think it's less likely that he would do so, just from a viewer standpoint, because people hate him enough already. If he was to brutally
Yeah.
like beat someone with the bat, if he chose a woman, it would be even more outrage. I want to say
Right.
than
And
it is.
I can't exactly explain why that is. I just know that it is. Like
Yeah.
you can't really say, because especially we know Maggie's pregnant, but I think if you killed Maggie, because the whole point of Negan, as you said, is to like him even though you hate him. He's a funny, a charismatic, evil person that maybe you can forgive him for killing Abraham. The Glenn thing, we all know how it affects. You'll see how it affects Maggie.
Maggie was just taking it too far.
By the way, how great was it that everyone was completely beaten into the ground, and Maggie says, "No, we got to put an army together. We have to get this guy."
She was so calm.
Yeah, she seemed.
She was way
like
calmer than I would have thought.
We have a job to do. I mean, that's
Yeah.
sort of in the comics. She sort of takes on more of a leadership role, correct?
That's right. Yeah.
My heart did break for Rosita a little bit because she had just had a thing with Abraham, and the whole Sasha thing was brand new. And then when Maggie said, "I'm going to take him," meaning Glenn, Sasha goes right into Rosita's face and is like, "Well, I'm going to take him." About Abraham. And I just, as a woman, it was still fresh for Rosita, and I just felt for her in that moment.
I felt for Eugene. Who did you feel the worst for? Did you feel worse for the girls, for Maggie, or for Eugene?
For me, definitely Maggie. I want to say, especially like you touched on with the scene afterwards, and also the way she felt guilty because they were all out there for her.
Yeah.
Because she had been sick. I just that was pretty crushing, and I always felt like. Rosita was as well too, especially when Negan tries to make her look at the bat, make her look at Lucille.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really, really crushing all around for everybody. But for me, Maggie stood out because I think Lauren Cohen does a really good job of really showing, agony. Like when you had Beth in season 5,
Right.
When she's killed off too, and she lets out the scream and everything, and she just it just feels real, when she's playing out those scenes, and I thought that was she's just distraught. She's not totally making sense of the things she's saying, and I think that is totally realistic to what people how they react to these type of things when someone
Right.
that they love passes away. A lot of times they can be in some kind of state of denial, or they might want to fight or flight. They might want to try to fight back against, even though really they have no chance. And even Rick has to explain that we can't get justice this time.
Right. No, it's interesting you said that part of her guilt was that they were there for her, but if you think about it, half of those people were there for Carol. Daryl and Glenn and Sasha and it was four,
Rosita.
and Rosita went out looking for Carol. When Dwight captured them, they had no idea about Maggie. So it's possible when Carol finds out that they were out there to find her, she may feel guilt because they left, because she wandered off because she was tired of killing. So there's definitely some guilt there. Okay. I don't want to take up your whole day, Trev, and I appreciate this. But there's two Easter eggs I want to point out because I know a lot of people commented on your YouTube page and a lot of people tweeted at us. Two of the things that a lot of people missed. One was Abraham giving the peace sign to Sasha as his way of saying goodbye and everything's going to be okay right before he gets the bat. I'm sure you saw that. Now, I know that you said you missed it the first time because you were filming your reaction video, which is hilarious. Please, you guys.
I watched it,
You've got to watch this. And then the second Easter egg or thing that a lot of people didn't catch was the guy who went over and took Polaroids of Glenn's crushed skull. Which was interesting because when they went into Negan's satellite compound, remember when Glenn killed the first two guys, his first ever 2 human kills, and he took over for Heath and killed Heath's guy? The whole wall was Polaroids of Negan kills.
Bashed heads.
As if like that's a thing, and a lot of people call that foreshadowing that Glenn had then seen his own death. So I thought it was kind of weird or ironic that another guy has now taken the camera and took a picture of Glenn's crushed skull like it was nothing. Do you think is that a ritual that Negan's people do in the comics all the time?
Yeah, that's. I don't think they do the picture thing in the comics with the Polaroids, but definitely with the TV series, it's pretty messed up that they do that. But and I agree with you. It was. It's pretty crazy that Glenn is the one who sees that, and a lot of us did feel like, okay, that could be a setup for when people were thinking, okay, who is it that Negan is going to kill, it was pretty good setup, I think, for that. There were some other things as well, too, in the second half of the season. Like there was what's called the Orange Crush theory, which might be looking into it too much, but you had Daryl in one of the episodes there where him and Rick were going after Jesus or Paul Rovia. And there's like a orange crush, so some people think like orange crush, red, Abraham crush,
Oh,
that's right.
We're getting deep there.
Well, no, that's right,
Yeah.
because they were dragging the soda machine
Yep.
for the orange soda
Yep.
for
Right.
Tara, and
Right.
the truck went in the lake. They lost the truck.
Yep.
Then when Denise goes and gets the cooler out of the car by the train tracks, she takes the orange crush, and then she dies.
Yep.
And then
Which is how Abraham died in the comic.
right, and then he dies, and then Negan makes the joke about him being a redhead, or that he's red.
Red.
Yeah. So very good. Okay, so you need to be now the ultimate decider of this theory I have. I really want your feedback on this. A lot of people are saying that it's Daryl's fault for punching Negan that Glenn got killed, correct?
Yeah.
I have a different theory. Right before that, Negan says to Rosita, look at he goes, take a damn look. Take a damn look at the bloody bat. And she doesn't take a damn look. And because he was being so brutal to her, Daryl jumps up and punches Negan. Negan has him carted off. Then Negan kills Glenn because of the outrage of him interrupting him. My feeling is if Rosita had just taken a damn look, Glenn would be alive. So it's Rosita's fault. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you could be right. I do feel like maybe we could see something between Rosita and Daryl in the future. So we'll see. And he was kind of defending her in that moment too, which is why he couldn't hold himself back because Negan forcing her to do that was being kind of. I mean, that was kind of overboard. I think even for Negan, right? That was pretty unnecessary.
Right.
That's cruel.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think you're right that it's just a spiral of events that if she had done right away, maybe Daryl wouldn't have done that. Yeah, and just kind of just the way everything went spiraled out of control, and then Negan to reinforce his dominance, to reinforce his control, goes through and kills another one of them to let them know that this isn't a one-shot deal. If you continue to kind of just do whatever you want, if you continue to act out, then he's going to continue to punish. He's going to continue to pick, and so
there you go. Now, we mentioned your reaction video. I sent you an email of what I consider maybe the greatest reaction video of anything I've ever seen before, of an older woman sitting in her living room, and her son is filming her watching The Walking Dead. Did you have a chance to click on that link and watch it?
I did watch it. It was pretty funny.
Yeah. So I'm gonna retweet out the link. I don't know if Trev, if you're gonna put it on your YouTube page at some point, but the woman is basically cursing the television set, threatening to kill Negan. He's a pussy. And, oh, God, Daryl, don't do it, Daryl. Oh, God, he's going to, oh, Daryl. She just screams along. She's the funniest woman I've ever seen in a reaction video to Walking Dead, but maybe anything. She's just so funny. So definitely check that out. I want everyone listening to the podcast to check out Trevschan2, Trevschan2, Trev's channel, I guess is what it's short for, Trevschan2. I would say you do like 5 videos a week, roughly?
Yeah, 5 or 10, yeah.
And what other shows do you review every week or on occasion?
Game of Thrones when it's on. I also cover Fear of the Walking Dead, and then sometimes just some random new shows like Westworld's recently for the premiere, and just anything that's kind of hot, good shows that are on.
What did you think of? I mean, I already know, but what did you think of the short for Fear of the Walking Dead? There's a new series like Flight 462 that ran throughout season 6 of The Walking Dead, where the people were on a plane, the plane crashed, and a couple of people from the plane crash ended up on Fear the Walking Dead. We saw the first installment of the new Fear the Walking Dead short. What did you think of that, and how do you think that'll play into the Fear the Walking Dead show?
Yeah, Passage.
Yeah.
Well, they just showed the first kind of short clip to it, and there's going to be quite a few each week for Walking Dead. They're going to show an additional one. So most likely it's going to be set up for at least I want to say one character to join the show in season 3. There aren't too many details about it right now, aside from what we can see is it looks maybe close to the border, maybe close to where they're at currently in Fear the Walking Dead, where season 2 ended. And we'll have to see which character it is that's going to survive through that. and join. But there just isn't too much in terms of details right now, aside from that one little clip that AMC has released.
Well, I feel like after the introduction of Negan, we really need to see something along those lines. And not that you could have another Negan, but we need a super bad. We need a really bad villain in Fear the Walking Dead. And I think we need more comic book-based characters. We need someone with a sword. We need someone with a crossbow. All we have on Fear the Walking Dead is a nice family. It's interesting. But they all have knives.
A hammer.
A hammer. There's nobody there that could be a comic book character. I feel like that's what's missing. So I'm hoping that season 3, Daniel returns and somebody stands up and is a kick-ass, badass kind of character. Do you agree with that, or you feel like the family is enough watching them mature?
No, I agree 100%. Yeah, Fear the Walking Dead is one where you have some Walking Dead fans that really like it. Like I really like it, especially like Travis. He's one of my favorite characters from the series, and I'd even put him up there as a great character, even compared to some of the other characters in the original Walking Dead. But yeah, there's a lot of people that don't really like Fear too much, and I do agree with you that we probably need a big bad pretty soon. Going into season 3 for Fear, it would make sense for them to do that because with The Walking Dead, they kind of brought that in with the governor. Granted, you had Shane, who was kind of like a character that kind of became bad out of the the original group. But it will be really cool to see what they do with Fear in the future. It does have a different feel from The Walking Dead, though. You have the family base. You don't have as much in the way of action, like you said, with the weapons and everything. And I do think the series has a lot of potential. I just hope that AMC's willing to put the effort into it, and that we get to see some other, like you said, maybe some great villains and some other great characters come out of it.
Yeah, well, I like the way you mentioned that a lot of people who like The Walking Dead, not all of them like Fear the Walking Dead. You've gotten criticism by some of your followers for doing some videos that do both, that mention The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead. They want you to separate them now and only do separate Fear the Walking Dead videos. That's correct, right?
Absolutely correct, 100%. You got it. Yeah, it's really weird. A lot of people just, I'm not sure why. And also, if you look at the ratings too for Fear the Walking Dead, it definitely does not do near the same level. The premiere for season 7 for Walking Dead, which is a special episode, but it did 17 million, and then you have Fear, where it's only doing around 3-4 million views per episode.
Well, 17 million. I guess the cliffhanger everybody hated worked.
Oh, yeah, it did.
As it turns out, it was worth the wait. It was a fantastic episode. Trevor, thank you very much for a few minutes of your time. You were the guest on our first episode before I had Jamie as a co-host.
Yes.
And that's when I realized I needed a co-host. So thank you for helping us kick off the podcast. I will send you all the links. And thank you very much for listening. If you're listening to us, please follow Trevschan2 on YouTube. Trevor, thank you very much. I know your day is very busy. And hopefully we'll talk soon. Enjoy the rest of the season.
Thank you, Trevor.
Oh, thank you guys. It was my pleasure. Nice to meet you, Jamie. And
you too.
Thanks again, Dave. It's a lot of fun. So any other time you guys want to do this, I'm always down.
You got it. Oh, and I guess what? I have a 50% chance of getting a Lucille bat. I'm close. My AMC connection said they may have one left.
We're super jelly.
So thanks for the inspiration. I'll let you know if I get it.
Sweet. Yeah, let me know, man. Enjoy that.
There you go. All right, man. Thanks, Trev.
Bye.
See you guys.
Same piece. That's what he always goes. He goes, I'm Trevor. I'm saying peace.
Oh.
So I feel like there you go. So there's Trevor. I love Trevor.
What a sweetie. He's nice.
If you like our podcast, please follow Trevor, Trevschan2 on YouTube. He covers things that we cover. We cover things he covers. We have different theories on things, but he's fantastic and he loves it. He's got all the toys in his video.
Oh, I love it behind
the posters. He's an Uber fan and a really good guy. And so there you go. Our second podcast in a week.
I love it.
First time we've done that.
Yeah.
I think next week we'll do
a
one.
double feature.
Double feature. So thanks everyone for listening to a second podcast this week. And I can't wait for season 7, episode 2.
Yay. Bye, guys.